Al-Sarabi Family Revocable Trust. So Landis, can read that out?
Yep. So the Town of Walpole Notice of Intent Conservation Commission public hearing in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Town of Walpole Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Notice is hereby given to the intent of the Chawagbi A. Al-Sarbi Family Revocable Trust to convert a driveway into a road for 4 single-family house lots and appurtenances at 32 Starlight Drive, Walpole. Plans are on file at the Conservation Commission office. The public hearing on the above matter will be held in Walpole Town Hall, 135 School Street, February 26th, beginning at 7:05. All interested parties are requested to be present. The hearing was continued from June 10th until 2 nights.
We have I think Mr. Al-Sarabi is, no, he's not here. We have a letter from him?
Yes, we have a request from the representative, Dan American, for continuance.
Okay, so we should continue this until when we decide that we have a busy schedule for our next meeting, August 12th, right? So we're going to make this to September, whatever it is.
September 9th is the next meeting.
Okay, so we'll make that a motion to continue the hearing until September 9th. Do we have anything on?
At 7 p.m.
So it's 7 p.m.
I move it.
We have a second? Okay, I'll second it. All in favor? Doug?
Aye.
Betsy?
Aye.
Al?
Aye.
Jack? Aye. Okay, 4-0-0, so till September
9th at 7 p.m.
9th, 7 p.m. Right. We have some time before our next hearing, which is 7:10, so you could look at the minutes from our June 24th meeting. We have a correction to make. Do you have them there, Landis?
Hold on a second. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, on the last page, that's page 4,
Yeah.
on the minutes, the vote for the roll call, it has me listed as aye, that was abstain, should be abstain.
Okay.
You find that?
Yep.
Okay, and then remove the last few words there, motion carried 5-0-0. The correct motion is above that at 4-0-1.
Okay, got it.
Anybody else?
Any other?
Anybody else have anything else?
No.
Okay, so we want to move the minutes then from June 24th.
I'll move them.
Betsy?
Second.
So we have second from Doug?
Media.
Emilio, hi Emilio.
Aye.
Make note that Emilio is also with us.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
Emilio?
Aye.
Betsy?
Aye.
Al?
Aye.
Jack? Aye. 5-0-0. Okay. So those are done. Let's see what else we have. do you want to get into the enforcement order?
I can just, I can just give you a quick update on Brookside Village if you want. So,
Yeah, we do.
1900 Main Street, nothing has changed on that one. What Estates, nothing has changed on that one. And Brookside Village, I had just asked Mike Curatola to give us an update and had also received an email from Mike Yanovich, the building inspector. So they're pursuing some action in regards to the wall, the building inspector is. And so they're waiting for their action to go 30 days, and then he will respond to the magistrate to follow through on that. I did make it clear to Michael Curatola that the commission still would like the wall to be fixed as far as the erosion control issues, and the roof leaders to comply with the plan, with that all the roofs be sumped into the pipe, the PVC pipe that goes to the detention basin, and that the PVC pipe that was put in the side of the detention basin be removed, because that was not a correct spec. So that's still pending. It's the building inspector is still working on the compliance issue.
Okay,
That's the update.
all right.
Landis.
Where's that? Emilio?
Yeah, you sent something out about Palmer Ave. What's going on with that?
Right, so
Okay.
that is on our agenda, and there's several
Oh.
people that want to speak to it.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's
All right.
going to take a little bit longer than 2 minutes.
Okay,
Um,
all right, jumping on that. All right.
It's up to you, Chair. If you, I don't know if there's anyone here for Hasniagar's project, which is also going to be continued. But we have to wait till 7:10 to
Yeah, well, we'll
continue
wait.
it.
We're close enough to it, so we'll wait and do that, and then we can get into the Palmer Avenue. I
Okay,
think that
yeah.
would be the next item, right?
How about the peer review? Can you want to comment on that?
We need a little more time.
No.
We've got 1 minute to go. So everybody hold their breath.
Any good jokes?
Landis?
Yeah, if you can just identify your voice.
Oh, sorry, this is Doug.
Okay, hi, Doug.
You know, on the previous item you were discussing, just a quick question. You said PVC pipe had to be replaced because it was incorrect. What was wrong with the PVC pipe?
It wasn't that the PVC pipe had to be replaced, but so the roof leaders were to be sumped into a pipe that ran along the bottom of each of the units to collect the stormwater and then convey it to the infiltration basin. And not all of the roof leaders were sumped into that. And that was to go to the outflow pipe. But then there was another area where some of the units had been connected to a PVC pipe that was just stuck into the side of the infiltration basin. So it wasn't connected to the inflow pipe, but it was just sticking out of the side. And I saw that as causing problems in the future with erosion, and it was not spec'd on the plan. So I wanted that to be removed and those units be correctly connected to the PVC pipe leaders that were going into the inflow, into the infiltration basin.
Oh,
Correct.
okay. Thanks for explaining that. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, you can start on the next agenda item.
Okay. Town of Walpole Conservation Commission abbreviated notice of resource area delineation in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Town of Walpole Wetlands Bylaw. Notice is hereby given by John Hassenyeager for the filing of an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation to review the wetlands resource areas at map 19, lot 183, Pinnacle Point. Plans on file at the Conservation Commission office. The public hearing on the above matter will be held in Walpole Town Hall, 135 School Street, February 12, 2020, beginning at 7 p.m. All interested persons are requested to be present. John Wiley, Chairman, Walpole Conservation Commission. The hearing was continued from June 10th, 2020. And again, the applicant's representative has requested a continuance for the hearing. They are still working on the revised plan.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to continue this hearing until September 9th at 7:10 p.m.
I'll move it.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Doug?
Aye.
Emilio?
Aye.
Betsy?
Aye.
Al?
Aye.
Jack? Aye. Okay, so that's continued to September 10th. So let's go to Palmer Avenue. Landis, you want to start with what we
okay.
have here?
We also have the request for minor modification for 1363-65 Main Street, just to let you know. So Palmer Street, I had received a email from the Neponset River Land Holding Association that they had seen a violation which was partially on their land and partially on other land behind 3 and 4 Palmer Ave. This is an area which abuts Willet Pond. So it sounded familiar, so I reviewed the documents that we have here in Town Hall, and there was an order of conditions that was issued for work back in 2005, DP 315827, which referenced work for lot, I think it was lot 2, Palmer Ave, and also work associated with the Neponset land to construct a 4-foot wide path and a boat ramp to Willet Pond. The area in question had been altered in that there's some trees that were cut. Looks like there were some shrubs that were cut. Looks like some areas were loam and seeded, and it was included both wetlands area as well as buffer zone. Also, the order of conditions included no alteration plaque or bounds, which there seems to be one granite bound out there now. Doesn't have a sign on it, but looks like that's the no alteration bound. And in between the no alteration bound and the wetlands is just grass. On the plan, it shows a stone wall. The stone wall appeared to be removed. I'm not sure when that was removed. So the stone wall was removed. The 25-foot no alteration area was altered, and a portion of the wetlands were altered, and trees and shrubs were cut. So I issued a enforcement order and went out and took a site visit also and took some pictures. I talked to Mrs. Great at one of the lots just briefly to ask if I could go onto her property, and she said yes. And then I sent out the enforcement orders, certified mail as well as regular mail. I have had, Michael Brait has contacted me through email, and I've had some correspondence with him, and I've had some, like I said, an email from Jim Kane of the Neponset River Land Holding Association. And you all have a copy of the enforcement order and pictures. So I signed the enforcement order, but the commission should validate it by voting on the
What
enforcement
we'll do
order.
first is vote for the, to validate the enforcement order. Someone going to make that a motion?
Wait, are we gonna discuss this?
Yeah,
Okay, so what we're doing is,
we're voting the enforcement order right now.
and then we're gonna discuss it.
Yes.
Okay.
I move it.
Second,
Okay. All in favor? This would be Doug,
Abstain.
Medio,
Aye.
Betsy,
aye.
Al,
Aye.
Jack, aye. Okay. So for discussion, what would you like? Who wants to start? Doug, do you have any comments?
No, I need to abstain.
Okay. Emilio?
No, I'd just like to discuss it. It should be replicated the way, the way it was. So whatever that entails.
Betsy?
Okay, two things. First of all, often we start with Landis because Landis has a particular thing in mind that she should say. But since you've come to me, I just want to say that I went and looked up the welcome homeowner letter that's online from the Friends of Willett Pond, which is also called the Willett Pond Charitable and Protection Association. And it says very clearly in this letter, don't mess with it says don't mess with the shore of the pond in any way without written permission. But it doesn't say a single word about the 100-foot buffer that you cannot work in it at all without permission. And I'm just thinking, for starters, this welcome to Willett Pond letter has got to be much more explicit. It says the strip of land around the pond can be as small as inches, but as large as 50 feet. The average is 20 feet. Most of us don't own to the water's edge, et cetera, et cetera. It makes it sound like it's a sort of a landowner issue, and it's not, because here we are at CONCON talking about it. So I think that whoever's in charge of this Willett Pond Charitable and Protection Association needs to really ramp this letter up, and they probably need to do it for Westwood and Norwood too. It's not just Walpole, and be really explicit about this 100-foot buffer within which you can't work without coming before us, and then the 25-foot buffer, forget about it. So I just think that this could be one of the sources of the problems, although there could be others.
Okay. Al?
I've read Landis's recommendation, and I think her recommendation is pretty good. I'd like to see it carried out. I'm disturbed that these homeowners went ahead and cleared and changed the shape of the land without filing. So let's go forward here.
Okay. Landis, you want to add anything?
Yeah, so partially from what Betsy is saying is my understanding is that the homeowners who both are here tonight did meet with representatives from the landowners, Neponset River Land Holdings, to discuss some of the changes. I was not in attendance to that meeting. I don't exactly know what happened other than what I've been told. And then, so they can speak more to it. They are the landowners of what happened at that meeting. But regardless of who the landowner is, the wetlands and the buffer zone, specifically the 25-foot no alteration area, was altered, and it was a violation of a order of conditions that was issued by the Conservation Commission, and continuing conditions that were referenced in the certificate of compliance that was recorded at the Registry of Deeds issue to the owner at that point, which was Mr. Parkinson. So it is unfortunate that nobody bothered to look at that and see what the restrictions were to begin with. I will say that. So there is a plan, which is a pretty detailed plan that showed what type of vegetation was out there. The landscaper, Joseph Inglesby, sorry, I'm terrible at names tonight. He was very detailed and he drafted quite a landscape plan and specified what should be there, what should be planted, the path, the green area, and then we included in the order of conditions that there should be no further alterations. So I thought it was all pretty clear to begin with.
Okay, is there anyone here from the Deposit Landholding
Yes.
Association?
Yes, I'm Kathleen O'Donnell. I'm an attorney. I helped draft the lease that set up this current management of Willits Pond, and I represent the Neponset River Landholding Association. I would point out that permission was given for the dock, as there normally would be, but the permission said that the construction had to be in accordance with all local regulatory approvals. The lease itself requires ongoing compliance with Conservation Commission rules and regulations. So right now, not only are they in violation of the order of conditions, they're in violation of the lease. And we could terminate their dock lease if we wanted to. We will be sending a letter requesting enforcement to the Willits Pond Association, because clearly, as your member pointed out, they're not very clear about telling these people that, you know, the strip of land between their house and the pond is actually owned by us, not them, and that no matter what permission we might give for a dock or a license for a dock, it's subject to your your jurisdiction. It's subject to orders of conditions. It's subject to everything. And so sort of saying, well, you know, this landholders association said it was okay, doesn't waive the requirements that they have to comply with the existing order or current regulations.
Okay. I guess, would you like to hear from either Mr. Parkinson or Mr. Brait?
Sure, Michael Bray here. I'd like to just give a brief a statement of how we got to this point. So we, Dave and I, in accordance with our lease agreement with the Butters Association and the Neponset River Landholders Association, we applied for permission to create a 30-foot path as a joint venture with 3 property lots. We're allowed in that lease agreement 10 foot wide per lot of clearing to the pond as access. We hired John Glosser to assist us in the drawings, the measurements, and to deal with conservation because we knew he had a long-standing relationship and his knowledge, and he was knowledgeable with this process. We also involved Tom Palmer to lend his expertise with the design process and submission to the Butters Association, and then ultimately on to the Landholders Association. And then we were granted permission to perform clearing of 20-foot wide path to the pond, which included the removal of 10 trees. Jim Kane from the Landholders Association also came out to review the site, and he told Mr. Parkinson that we were good to go. We passed the approval on to John Glosser and requested him to check with conservation. John had indicated that the Landholders Association had an ongoing approval from conservation to allow this type of work, but he still would need to check and confirm.
That's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
So let me continue, please, Kathleen.
Please.
Sorry.
One at a time.
So in that time, you know, we were waiting for the approval. We just, you know, when Jim came by and said we're all set to go, I think we jumped the gun. We're excited to do the work to improve the land around the, and that's the way we were looking at it. So we went ahead and that's our bad and our fault. It's jumping the gun without the actual hearing back from conservation. But during the tree removal, we've only started taking down the 10 trees that we were approved to take down, and we had other trees that suffered damage. A lot of them were dead. Actually, one fell on the machine when I was using it, caused $600 of damage, and I actually sent that over to Landis to prove that we had a lot of dangerous trees that were about to fall and come down. So a lot of the vegetation in the area, it sustained damage during the removal of the trees from just moving around in that. So we did not add any soil. We just regraded and we applied a wetland seed mix with a tar fescue. And over to the hillside, we actually installed 3 pounds of wildflower seed mix on the northern slope. We was not aware of the order of conditions. When the conservation agent Landis brought this to my attention after receiving the complaint from Jim Kane, that's when we were aware of it. Mr. Parkinson remembered the order of conditions, but he thought it was no longer enforced because the previous work was completed and it was signed off. So we don't know. He's not going to know any better. I don't know any better about what orders or conditions are. That's why we hired these people to help us, guide us through the process. And we actually recently made aware that the Landholders Association had knowledge of the orders of condition prior to this work. We actually have a letter from Ann Cooks receiving the orders of condition. So in fact, they actually knew about the orders. And I'm not sure why they would give approval without even, stating that there was remind us there's an order. Yes, they said, you make sure you abide by local laws and conditions. We failed to do that. That's not bad. We didn't intend to do any damage or break any laws or do anything. And we're here now, willing to just do whatever we can to fix it and just get it back to whatever you feel like you want to get back. But we're not totally held responsible for all this miscommunication.
Okay. Did Mr. Parkinson have anything you want to add?
You're on mute, Dave.
I would just add that I've been here for 15 years and never cut a twig or anything down by the waterfront. And with the change in ownership, the process was very confusing on how to proceed. And I agree with Michael 100% that I'm embarrassed and I hate to waste your time dealing with this issue. And had we known what the process was supposed to be, we would have definitely have followed the process. So we'll fix whatever we have to fix. And again, I apologize for consuming your time with this type of issue.
Okay. Did you want to, anyone else?
Well, I want to ask Jeff if anyone from the Friends of Willet Pond Charitable and Protection Association is here. No?
There should be several people from that organization on there.
Because I wouldn't mind hearing from them about their Welcome to Willet Pond homeowner letter and the way that they're intending to greatly clarify that. So is there anyone from?
See, if no one wants to particularly speak at the hearing, which is their right, I will make sure to contact them and bring your point to them so that can be corrected.
I will put that into the letter that the Landholders Association will be sending to the Willet Pond Friends Association, because the lease that they signed just last year, it's not that long ago, specifically states that they are the tenants of us. We own the strip between the pond and the property owners. And the lease requires compliance with all orders of conditions, all environmental regulations. And that's the tenant, which is the Friends, it's the tenant. And these folks are actually sub-tenants of the Friends of the Association of the Pond. So so right now they're in violation for not making sure that their own landowners aren't in compliance. So we'll have to be sending a letter to that effect.
And Kathleen mentioned the 100-foot too. I mean, that's jurisdictional.
Yeah. I know. We can't give you permission. We can't give permission for that. That's your guys, not us. So. Okay.
If I hear correctly, the landowners, Mr. Parkinson and Mr. Gray, are willing to correct the issue and get things squared away. So I think, the appropriate thing for them to do would be to get someone who is qualified to present a restoration, plan and present that back to the commission for our review. Does that sound all right, to you, Landis?
Yeah, Jack, I would, so I'm not, it seemed like perhaps things changed in stages. I'm not really sure from the plan of 2005, which showed the stone wall, showed vegetation between the stone wall and the granite bound, which now appears to be lawn. I don't know when that work was done either, but yeah, I would suggest that so that it looks like some of the work actually occurred on 3 and 4 homeowners' lots, and then some of the recent work occurred on the abutting lot, which is the Neponset River Land Holdings parcel.
I think, Lindsay, I think that Jim might have told me, I'm not sure about this, that there's an irrigation system that was installed, and some of that is on our land, not on theirs.
That may be. So I think what needs to be looked at is the original plan that was approved by the Conservation Commission, referenced that in that order, and is referenced in the continuing condition, which is on the certificate of compliance that is recorded at the Registry of Deeds. I would encourage all homeowners to review both documents, and then come up with the restoration plan to restore the area back to what was approved by the commission back in 2005, because that's what it's supposed to be. So it would include the 25-foot no alteration restoration and restoration to the wetlands, the recent work that was done.
Okay, so to Mr. Parkinson and Mr. Braid, if you can have that plan back to the Conservation Office, our next meeting that we would have time to address this would be the September 9th. So you don't have to wait until then, but if you can get something to us prior to that, so Landis can review that and see if that's meets all the requirements, and then I guess we could actually even start proceeding. Or do we need to, you want the commission to review it, or just to have you review it, Landis?
I'm fine with reviewing it. I'm fine with reviewing it and working with the owner of the land, because they do have to go on to different land in order to do some restoration. Just to be clear, this is probably hiring someone with a wetland specialist that knows how to put together a restoration plan for both wetlands and the 25-foot no alteration area, and drawing up a plan.
Okay.
You can
So,
go by. So yeah, I would be fine to look at it prior to the 9th if they can get that all together before you guys approve it. It's up to you guys if you want to approve it first.
I would say that if you can do it, the restoration would make sense to begin when you've reviewed it. But I think we should put it on our agenda for September 9th to see what the status is. And I would also say that we should have a plan by then. As you may know, that the commission can issue fines of up to $300 per day per violation. So we would like to see progress, substantial progress made in restoration here. So you can get your plan into Landis at a reasonable time in the near future. That would be the best thing to do. And see if anybody else has any questions on the commission. Doug, you're abstaining. Emilio, anything further? Okay, Betsy, anything more?
No, nothing more.
Al?
Everything's okay with me.
Okay, and I don't have anything more to add, so, Is that everybody all squared away with this?
Jack, Jim Kane from the Ponset River Landholding, if I could have a moment.
Okay, I didn't realize you were here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I received an email regarding 3 and 4 Palmer, that they were requesting a joint lake access easement. I believe I went to the site on June 3rd, walked the site. John Glosser had done a decent job of clearly marking a 20-foot strip that at the time I was unaware of the 2005 order of conditions. So I was just going along with the Ponset River Land Holdings guidelines for our access easement, which allows a 10-foot strip. When I, when I walked the site, there was clearly a large stone wall. There was clearly numerous trees. When I met with Mr. Parkinson, I said, everything looks fine. I said, just be very careful. You stay within those marked ribbons that John Glosser had marked out. I said, you'll be receiving an email. But as far as land holding is concerned, you're all set with us. And in the email, it clearly specifies that they must abide by all, state and local laws. And when I spoke with John Glosser shortly after the incident, John Glosser said that he was never requested to appear or notify conservation.
I have that in.
I would just add for the Neponset land holding, of course, that you might also include in your discussion with any of your abutters or people that own the land abutting yours, that to include conservation in whatever discussions or actions that they may want to take. Just to remind them that conservation should be included in the loop. Okay, so we're ready to go. Anybody have anything else that they need to add?
Jack?
Yes, hi.
Hi, it's Emilio. I guess I was muted when you asked me the question, but my comment was, to Landis, can they use the 05 restoration plan as a template or a guide?
That's what I would recommend, because it's a pretty good history of what is there, what was there at the time, and what was supposed to be planted.
Right.
So I think there should be some flexibility since the times have changed. But it's a good, I think they need to stick to the 4-foot wide path and the grassy area that was part of the landscape plan that was approved under that order.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I had.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for participating.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move on to our review. Okay. Landis?
Sorry, I'm the note taker too, so I'm just finishing my notes. What are you doing now? The notice of minor modification request?
Yeah, we'll do that. Yes.
Okay. So that's 1363, 1365 Main Street is requesting a minor modification. This is bylaw only. This is the application that was approved by the Conservation Commission. Order of conditions were issued previously for to take down the Leo Pizza's building and to construct a new building, multi-use residential and commercial with underground parking and parking outside. I'm going to let the applicant describe what he wants to do. I did put it up on our website, as well as I think I sent it to most of you. Hopefully I did. It is on the Walpole website under our meeting plans and applications. So if you want to go ahead, Chair.
Okay, who is there to represent the applicant here?
Hi, Mr. Chairman. My name is Sayed Haldi. I'm the developer. As Linda said, we did see you back in May, but since then we received some late comments through our zoning board hearings, from the fire department requesting that we make the turnaround for the fire engine in the back of the property all paved. So basically the whole undercarriage of the fire engine would be paved, which we were able to do on the site plan. It did do a minor change. About 200 square feet is now pervious as opposed to being, is impervious as opposed to be impervious in the back in the 100-foot buffer zone. If you want, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin Riappel. He's our engineer with DGT Associates. He'll describe in detail what we did and how it's not really going to affect any of the stormwater calculations. I'll turn it over to him. If there's any questions for me, please feel free to ask. Kevin, take over, please.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Kevin Riappel with DGT Associates, project civil engineer. As Syed was just explaining, we had to widen the hammerhead turnaround back here. Previously, this dimension was 15 feet. It's now 18.5 feet wide. We also had to extend it a little further down the building, about 7.5 feet. On this side, the 15-foot dimension stayed the same, but we did have to push it towards the property line by about 2.5 feet. So what that means is we had to add approximately 370 square feet of new pavement total, 200 of which is within the buffer zone. Change in grading, this whole hammerhead area will still be controlled with the curbing and directed down to the catch basin in the corner here. It's put through the treatment system and ultimately the large infiltration basin that is sitting below the parking lot here. In order to not change the lot coverage percentages with the new 370 square feet of pavement, we also are modifying some sidewalks out in front of the building to be permeable paver sidewalks, ADA compliant permeable paver sidewalks, totaling 370 square feet as well. The other thing we have added to the plans, as per the order of conditions, is added the two no alteration plaques at the 25-foot no disturb zone. So with that, we're here tonight to request the minor change to the project.
Landis, do you have any comments?
My only comments is I did speak to Carl Badoff, the town engineer, who's reviewed this project for the ZBA, I believe, as well. And he did not have any concerns with the additions, the change as far as stormwater. He was okay with it. I as well am okay with it. I think it's a minor change, which they're adding the permeable pavers. And it's a requirement of the fire department.
Okay. Doug?
I'm okay with it.
Emilio?
No comment.
Betsy?
No comment.
Al?
Since it's requested by the fire department, I think that's an important point, and I'm in favor. I think it's a minor project, minor change.
Questions with it, so we'll make a motion to make this a minor change.
Move it.
Show up in the as-built. So we have it. There was a second, Emilio? Was that
Yes.
Emilio? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Doug?
Aye.
Emilio?
Aye.
Betsy?
Aye.
Al?
Aye.
And Jack, aye. Okay, so that's approved as a minor addition. So
Thank you.
now,
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
I gotta get back. Every time you show a drawing, I wind up losing. Hold on.
We can see you, Jack.
Well, I've lost the screen, so I don't see anybody, so I just gotta plug in the numbers again.
Jack, we can see and hear you.
I can't see.
Yes,
you.
I don't think you.
I need to see you guys.
No, you don't.
No, you.
I could stop the video right now and you're not gonna see me, see?
I don't
I'm
think
back.
you have to log in again, though. I don't know.
Anytime it shows the drawing, the plan comes up, I wind up getting shut out visually. The sound was still there. Okay.
Right.
So I now have Landis on the screen. So you
Okay.
want to start with our peer review.
Peer review.
I guess
Sure.
everybody has had the opportunity to review the two proposals that we have for the peer review for 55 Summer Street.
Yep.
Okay. So, Landis, you want to start?
Sure. So we received two peer reviews, one from Tetra Tech and one from Beta, to review the application for compliance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and regulations. So, you know, I reviewed them, and I guess if you're asking my opinion on which one I think best fits what the Conservation Commission is looking for, that I think the Beta proposal fits it best with what we're looking for, which is reviewing the project based on the Wetlands Protection Act and regulations. Martin Nova seems to be a very well-versed wetland specialist who knows the regulations and had a good feel of what we're looking for. So they're a little bit more expensive as the Tetra Tech proposal, but I think they're better qualified to look at this project.
Okay. Doug, you have any comments or questions?
No comments.
Okay, Emilio?
No, sounds good.
Okay, Betsy?
Nope, no comment.
Al?
I've looked at both submittals, and the thing that stands out for Tetra Tech is they're going to spend 4 hours reviewing civil engineering stuff rather than wetland stuff. So it's sounds to me like Beta is more like what we expect, and we've had good success with them in the past. So my vote is for Beta.
I would just like to add, reviewing the two proposals, that the Tetra Tech proposal had a number of, I'll call them typo errors, but a number of mistakes in their quotation or proposal for conservation. Some of it looked like they just tended to copy, I'll say, the proposal they had made to the zoning board for the other part of the work which they are doing and were hired for. But my concern with when someone was making a proposal for the Conservation Commission and didn't read it over to pick up some of these that were obvious to me that they were just more than typo errors. There were a number of, but there were minor errors. But if they didn't pick those up when they're making a proposal, my concern was that if they're sloppy in doing their proposal, are they going to be sloppy in presenting whatever they would do for us? So for that reason, I am in favor of the Beta proposal. So I think it's unanimous that we would go with the Beta as our selection for the peer review. So let's vote on that. Someone make that a motion.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Medio, okay. Doug?
Aye.
Medio?
Aye.
Betsy?
Aye.
Al?
Aye.
Jack? Aye. So unanimous.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
may we discuss the timing of a site visit as well as the next hearing, with the applicant has had the property staked, the crossings and the replication areas staked in preparation for both, I would assume the commission as well as the peer reviewer would want to come out for a site visit. Can we schedule that tonight?
I think we need to check with the peer review person first, but I think we need to decide whether we want to do a site visit with the peer review on her or that Beta's initial visit to the site, or have Beta do their work and present whatever their findings are, and then we schedule a site visit with the commission after that. I think my thought was that we would have request the peer review to be ready by our August, August meeting?
August 12th.
August, what is that?
August 12th.
August 12th meeting. And that the peer review could be present to the commission, and if there was any comments that the applicant wanted to make at that time, could do that, and then we could schedule a site visit with the commission. Now, those were my thoughts. Open to other suggestions. How's that sit with you, Joanna?
So then the idea would be that the site visit would happen after the peer review was done, or?
I wouldn't. Well, okay. I think the peer review would. There more than likely to be some comments from the peer review that the applicant would want to address. And I thought that would then be, the commission could then hear the peer review, hear the applicant's response, if any, and then we could do a site visit and see what is there and look at, we'd have both sides of the position to take into mind when we did our site visit. That was my thought process.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Landis.
That's okay, Jack. As you're talking about this, I'm kind of thinking, and it may be, and we don't have the peer reviewer here tonight, that the peer reviewer certainly can review the plans, but in order to get a really good understanding of the plans, they might want to go out to look at the site prior to writing their report. So it may be that they go out and look at the site and then finalize their report, and then if there's issues that have to be reviewed again on the site, that then we convene with the commission and everyone back on the site to look at specific areas of concern. I don't know, because they're not here in order to tell us how they can best review both the plans and the site for their report.
Yeah, I think if we ask Beta how they feel the best way for them to do that, to give us the report we're looking for, and also, typically there's some comments that come up that the applicant wants to review and comment on. Right. So that's why that was my thought, that we should hear what both have to say after the peer review is done, and I would expect that that Beta would want to do a site visit on their own in order to come up with their report. I would expect that they would be doing some site visit, because you can't pick everything off from the plans. You've got to verify some things in the field. So.
Well, like I said, the property has been staked. The applicant is ready to get this process started as soon as possible. I don't know how we can drop off the check to get them started on work. David, you tell me, but we can start there.
Yeah, so we'll have a check to you by the end of the day on Monday, just for logistical reasons. But it would be very helpful for us to be able to coordinate with the peer reviewer so that we can arrange a site walk with our wetland specialist and the peer reviewer together.
Okay. Let me just say.
And Landis, if that works.
Okay. Landis is planning to take some vacation. So if you could send an email that you are going to do that, you could get that to Landis tomorrow, then I think we could proceed with advising Beta that they will be doing the peer review, rather than if you drop it off, say Monday, Landis is going to be gone next week, so we'd lose a week. So I think if you could just get that you're committed to doing that, you can get the check to town hall. I don't know, Landis, you'll have to talk with Landis how that, where it has to go, so that we don't lose a week in here on that. Is that okay with you?
That is definitely okay with me, and I will send the email committing to a check on Monday, and I'll see if I can arrange to get one. Is the town hall open on Friday?
Well, noon time.
This Friday?
Yes.
Yes. If you can get it to me this Friday, I will be here on Friday. That would be the best scenario. I mean, because our rules and regulations for hiring outside consultants does say that we don't supposed to engage the consultant until we have a check that we can deposit. I can certainly tell Beta that we've chosen them, but we don't want them to bill any hours until we have the check in hand. So if you can get it to me on Friday, that would be great. I can let them know. They can, once we get the check, they can move forward. I'll let them know anyways that we're going to choose them, and they can start doing some work next week while I'm on vacation. I will be checking my emails, and then we can arrange a site visit. I'll work with both of you to arrange a site visit.
And do you have any problem if Brian reaches out?
Oh, no, that's fine. I don't have any problem. I just, usually the way we work this in chair, you can correct me if you disagree, is that it goes from applicant to me to consultant, but we all can get together and review it. There's no problem with that. We just make sure to keep the commission through me connected to any discussions about the peer review. But absolutely, I think if there's specific issues that need to be worked out, it's always helpful to have all the parties in one place.
If you could just in your email indicate who the Beta should contact.
Brian Butler.
Name, email, phone number, so that.
Yes. They know each other.
Okay, just so that's on there what the chain should be.
Okay,
All right.
Will do.
And then just to make sure we're prepared for the next, the hearing on the 12th, that would be a discussion of the peer review as well as any comments. And then I'm assuming you want a more in-depth walkthrough on the plans, the full-size plans that you now, I believe, have copies of.
Would expect that we could get that site visit in and then schedule I would like to have an open, we have not really had a meeting open to the public. Everything's been on Zoom. And I would like to have a meeting so that we can get whatever public comments that are possible. I understand that the zoning board is going to have an open meeting on July 25th, I think it is, or 27th, at the high school. So, but I don't know what the situation will be with, if we'll be able to or not. But I think.
So I think we also we have to just check. We have to be a little careful just to make sure that just talk about the peer review tonight, because the actual project is not on our agenda tonight.
Right.
So.
But I think that's that as far as,
Just a warning.
having, that would be our next meeting is, September
9th.
9th.
Yeah.
That would be the anticipated scheduling. So it would be, you're on the agenda, I believe, for our, August 12th, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, okay. So then at that point, we'll make the next, meeting date, but that would be the intent, I think. Anybody have anything else?
So I'm confused about the hearing schedule. My understanding is that the next hearing is August 12th, and we'll discuss peer review at that meeting. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be to discuss the peer review and whatever, if you have any comments to make regarding the peer review. But it would still be, we're still in a discussion stage at that point. Until we have the site visit.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you all.
And Jack,
yeah,
this is Emilio. To your comment regarding the commission's review or site visit, rather, I would agree with you that we should do that after the peer reviewer has had a chance to do their work and visit the site on their own.
that's kind of what I thought made sense. And hopefully we can get that in between the September and our August meeting. Anybody else have anything else to add on the peer review? Okay. Let's see, do we have anything else here?
Okay. On our agenda,
I think we covered everything.
I'm looking.
Looks like we have,
We covered everything, Jack?
looks like it to me.
Okay, I think you're right. So, yeah, our next meeting, August 12th. Okay, yeah, I think we're done.
Yeah, I guess, well, we'll see what happens. If sooner we could get to an open meeting, the better, but my guess is we're still gonna be on Zoom, but, we'll see how that goes.
Right, agreed. Well, I'm trying to reach out to see if it's possible to do something different, so I'll let everyone know as soon as I do.
Okay.
All right.
You decided you're not gonna take Friday off? Landis?
I'm not gonna take Friday off. It's hard when there's so much to do. So, I will definitely take the 13th through the 20th and maybe the 21st off.
Okay. Well, enjoy.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Will someone make a motion to close the meeting?
So move.
Second.
And everybody say aye.
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 Well done.
Bye.
Good. Thank you.